First, it was the show Cops, and now A&E has canceled the police reality series Live PD. It's one of the latest cop shows to get pulled from TV as protests continue over the George Floyd death. Dan Abrams is the now former host of Live PD and the founder of the Law and Crime Network. Dan, good afternoon to you, and let's try and work our way through this. Why was it canceled? Tell us.
Well, I'm not certain exactly why. It was obviously due to pressure to cancel the show based on the current environment that we are in. Now, again, I had thought the show would survive. I had thought that we can both support the important protests and calls for change that are going on around this country and say that Live PD and transparency amongst police officers and police departments can and should be a part of that. But in the end, the decision was made to end the show.
So here's what I appreciated about your show. You detailed for viewers how tough the job is for officers on patrol.
And how uncertain it is for officers on patrol. They just don't know what's going to be around the next corner. They don't know what the next call could be. They don't know who's in the car that they're pulling over. But I should say that also part of the show was seeing officers at times do things people didn't approve of. And that's part of transparency. That's part of showing what happens in the life of a police officer. Police officers make mistakes, sometimes worse. And I would think that that's an important part of continuing this effort to say we need body cams on police officers. And I would have thought we need more things like Live PD.
Okay, a couple more things I want to work through here. Cancel culture, that's active in America today, PC America. Is that the reason why this show was canceled, do you think?
I don't know. I wasn't part of the discussion. I'm the guy who tweeted out a couple days ago, don't worry, the show's not going away, because I was convinced it wasn't going away. I was being assured that it was going to survive. And look, but I also understand that A&E and some corporate partners under enormous pressure in an environment like this, where people are very critical of the police. So, I don't know exactly why it happened. I wasn't part of it, but I'm disappointed.
Okay, a couple more points I want to raise here. Call for number 2, guys. Wall Street Journal. Dan Henninger earlier today in his piece, The Media Self-Censors. It says in the past week, the editorial page editor of the New York Times, the editor of the Philadelphia Inquirer, and the editors of Bon Appetit magazine and the young women's website Refinery 29 have been forced out by the staff and owners of their publications for offenses regarded as at odds with the beliefs of the current protests. Are you on that, are you next on that list then, that Henninger writes about?
I don't know. I think that each of those cases are a little bit different. I've been pretty outspoken in my views on the fact that I think that some of these places like the New York Times should be willing, ready, and able to have an op-ed from Tom Cotton. They want to fact check it, okay, but the idea that they shouldn't even have his position in the paper, to me, seems like a mistake. Again, my view in general is let people decide for themselves. Provide people with more information, provide people with fair information, provide people with opinions, and then they can decide for themselves. And it is true that increasingly in this country, we are seeing people isolating on both sides, getting into their bunkers, and they don't seem to want to hear anything from anybody else.
Okay, if you're right, then it really extends to this whole conversation that we're having in every street corner in America about a PC world. Now, there was an incident that occurred in March of 2019 where an African-American was pursued by officers, and apparently your TV crews were there. It wasn't during a time when you were airing. It was, I guess, off-season. I think that's the correct way to phrase it. And apparently your policy on behalf of A&E is to destroy the tapes. Now, there's body cam video that still exists among the police department in Texas that is still out there. Do you believe the destruction of those tapes led to the termination of your show? Yes or no?
I think it was part of it. I don't know that it was singularly responsible. But again, I think it's important to put that into context. is that it wasn't just that someone decided to destroy the tapes. They destroyed every single tape after a certain period of time because they did not want to start having to pick sides. They didn't want to have to start saying, well, now law enforcement wants all of our videos to help prosecute people that they're arresting, or a defense attorney then saying, I want the video to do this with it. We were there to chronicle what was happening with policing. But I will say that in this incident, even though there is body cam that was available, I wish that we had saved that tape. I wish that the policy hadn't been so strict. I wish that there'd been an exception so that we could provide it. I never saw the tape.
Do you believe then, Dan, just have about 30 seconds left.
Yeah.
It's an important question here. Do you believe A&E did not want to take the chance to put the show back on the air because of this very tender issue that still exists out of Austin, Texas to this day?
I don't know. I mean, again, all I know is that I'm convinced it was part of the issue. And I think that there were a lot of people who were angry. And there are a lot of people who have very good reasons to be angry. I just don't know that taking it out on live PD as opposed to the district attorney or the people who were investigating this with the body cam that they had was the right way to go.
Dan, thanks for coming on today, and we will follow it and see where it goes next, if anywhere.
Thank you.
Dan Abrams, thank you.